So when we talk about what makes a good archer today, what does that mean? In 2025, that means that you can shoot a group that's tight. You have consistency, accuracy, precision. It's obviously a great attribute to have in your, what is it to be an archer? In my opinion, holistically, that's a central aspect. But when you think about what these tools were designed for, they weren't made to shoot inanimate objects in a controlled vacuum where you have all the time in the world to load up and gather your shot and release in a perfect moment of poise. They were designed either for hunting or warfare, which you're always under duress. Obviously, in a tournament setting or a competition, there's pressure in that you're all vying for the first position, and you're not out in the woods by yourself. You're in public, and people are assessing what your technique is and everything, and critiquing you possibly. But so that's about as close as you get to duress nowadays. Is other people watching you shoot when, like I said, how bows were, you were in a tribe setting, you were, hunting as a pack with bows, or you were on the battlefield. And anyways, all that to say, I feel like there's one very basic technique that, it's a posture really, that would have been ubiquitous in any country that used bows practically in either war or hunting. And the only person that I ever saw do it was the guy who mentored me when I was first starting with the heavier bows, Dave Lincoln. The first time I saw him do this, I was like, what are you doing and why are you doing it? But basically, that's why I dub it the Lincoln Lean. He didn't invent this. I just, pay homage to him with that moniker. But like I said, whether you're a Native American or a Chinese archer or African tribal hunter, Amazonian, it doesn't matter, Turkish. If you were hunting or in combat, you'd have to train this. The only reason you wouldn't is if you were fighting in an open field, which, granted, that did happen often in, say, European encounters back in the day with like the English longbows. You'd fight on plains, but that's a whole different bag of beans, really. If you're out in the woods or you're in some type of building or a castle or something, you have to be able to get behind cover and lean beyond it to not expose yourself. It's a defensive move, so you're not going to be standing up straight like this with your whole body out in the open. It's nice that you're at least perpendicular, so you're not a straight center mass to look at, but you improve your effectiveness and survivability by exponentially just by having the ability to lean out and shoot. If you can imagine a wall where these arrows are, if I'm behind, obviously if I'm on one side of it, I'm protected. If I can lean out, I only have a very small part of my body exposed, and to make it even more defensive, you can change levels of where you're at. Don't come out, peek out at the same spot. You can come really low and still do it. But all of this, no one, like I said, this is just kind of a lost, not even appreciated or acknowledges the fact that, okay, are you a good archer because you can do everything when everything's in your favor? What about the 99.9% of other times where things aren't perfect for you? Can you still shoot bullseyes then? If you could do that, I would say you're a good archer. Versatility, and adaptability are huge aspects of being an archer. And we have such a monolithic, narrow-minded way of preparing ourselves for what ultimately, I mean, you know, if you have good blinds and stuff, you don't need to be worried about like poking out behind trees. If you're stalking something, yeah, you would want to do that. You don't have to worry about returning fire, but if you're poking out of trees, there's less for whatever your prey animal is to see you. Whether it's, you know, turkeys or deer, that they can detect movement very easily. So if there's less to look at, that's in your favor. But yeah, there's ways people have got around it nowadays. I'm just saying, I think there's more to it than just standard competition tournament, relaxed. I don't know. It's essential that you train that too, but I think this is a really thing. This is something that everyone should know how to do, that no one really seems to know how to do because no one practices it. Because I think people think it's weird to be doing something other than what everyone else is doing. But if you want to really get good, you got to do stuff other people aren't doing. That's the way I look at it. And back in the day, everyone was doing it, and they were fucking good. So, basically, to break it down, I'll try and get a different angle with the feet, but if you can imagine, I'm just in my standard shoulder width apart. I'm going to take 1 foot step at a 45-degree angle. Alright, so the reason for the 45-degree step, and by that I mean you're at a diagonal towards the wall and the side that you're leaning, is that if you were, say, had your foot right up against the wall and you're leaning out, you might be clear for the lean and your body's defended. But once you, especially with longbow, when you release that draw, because the limbs are pulled back, as soon as you let it go, those limbs are going to extend and slap or slam or smash or shatter against whatever you're hiding behind. You don't really have to worry about the arrow because it's already gone at that point, but you don't want to be hurting your bow. It's the worst, one of the worst things you can do other than hurting a person. So there's that. It's also having that foot there gives your body sort of a haptic feedback of, like, sometimes just looking beyond, especially when you're focusing so much of your visual concentration towards your target, you're not really aware of the rest of your body. So having your foot there, you know that everything beyond your foot and your knee is exposed. And it's just a good frame of reference for what exactly is and is not behind cover. So those are the reasons. Also, it's really nice just for balance to have that instead of being totally, in like a batter stance or something. Having a little step out, it's a lot more stabilized and like sort of a tripod. So yeah, safety, don't want to smack those limbs. You want that balance, and it's just a frame of reference. You know where your foot is, you know what's behind cover. There you go. So you're behind cover, you're perpendicular to the target, take one step to being outside of cover, and then you're loading up, leaning. It's really kind of intuitive. If you have, I don't want to go through all the nuances of an entire shot sequence, but you have to go over that another time. But you don't really change any of that. You want that low shoulder. You want it locked inside and housed in your rib cage. You want your scapulas tight. You want that nice anchor. All that applies, but you're just bringing it down. Just really the same way that if you're shooting down on a target or up, you don't move your arm to do that. You just rotate at the center of axis at your belt line, essentially, in one of these. So same thing with the lean. Keep everything, just move it at the hips, and everything else should stay tight. Anyways, let me just do a round real quick, and then I'll talk about it. Probably blocking the actual shot there. Ooh, that's nice. Hopefully you saw that. I mean, another aspect of it is you can kind of get astounding accuracy. One of the things that you'll know is people don't shoot from the hip like you see in the movies because, I mean, it'll give you some really nice, I've noticed, kind of vertical accuracy, or horizontal rather, but not the other way around. And so, on top of, everyone's trying to can to keep their arrow nice and shelled, the more you do that, the more gravity is holding that arrow nice in there, so you can really get a full composed draw. It's not going anywhere, and it's just shooting almost like a crossbow right off a table. And all the alignment things in a normal shot apply here, so it's a very stable shot once you get used to kind of the weirdness of coming around. I'll keep shooting. Really straight. I know I'm shooting at a short range just to work on form right now, but it wouldn't really be changing anything if we double or triple this distance with a good pounded bow. How low can you go? Let's go. How low can you? Make sure you get that full draw on now. Let's try it crouched out. Very nice. It's such a clean shot. You gotta try it. It's such a clean shot. and powerful too. The way things align with this is awesome. Why you do it like that, Dave? Oh, I don't know. So yeah, Lincoln Lean, man. Again, this is something that everybody used back in the day. No one's doing it now. I don't know why, but I would recommend putting it into your toolkit, practice it, and don't be afraid to show up at the range and bust out a traditional basic building block form that would probably be child's play to everyone, and if you didn't know how to do it, you'd probably be laughed at. Not to say I'm not into like making fun of anybody or being derogatory to anyone that's doing archery in a different way, but I've certainly been snickered at for practicing these forms, which if you look at them, there's just so much. It's silly to not understand the benefits and advantages that it provides and how vulnerable you really are if you think that you're a great archer, you can hit anything whenever, but you're just standing out there like in the middle of broad daylight, not protecting yourself. It's archery fundamentally in the time of its heyday, it was a two-way street. Arrows aren't just going that way. There's not all those safety precautions of being on the same side of the line and clear and all that. You're both shooting at each other. Even if someone had a gun and all you had was a bow and arrow to protect yourself, you would want to be able to peek out behind a tree or from behind a wall, big time. So I think anyone can see the value in that. I love traditional archery, this Delta Archery, and give it a shot. Lincoln Lean, baby. See what it's all about.